Live from the Student Union on campus, this is Gold Mine Live. Your weekly all-access pass inside Charlotte Athletics is brought to you by Ortho Carolina, proud to present the 2017 Charlotte 49ers football season. Bojangles, it's bow time. Your Carolina Ford dealers. Go to yourfordchoice.com and enter the Adventure Ready giveaway to win a 2017 Escape or Fusion from your Carolina Ford dealers. Harris Teeter, where 49ers fans shop for groceries. University Eye Associates. And by Wells Fargo. Charlotte 49er fans, show your pride with a customized Wells Fargo debit card. Stop by your nearest Wells Fargo or visit Wells Fargo Card Design Studio online to learn more. Now, here's your host, the voice of the 49ers, Matt Swierad.
How about that?
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to our first football coaches show of the season, Gold Mine Live, coming to you from Norms on campus of the Student Union. It is week one of football for the 49ers here in year number 5, and we open up on the road on Friday night going to Eastern Michigan, and I'm joined by head coach Brad Lambert and Kevin Donnalley. And Coach, good to see you. And it's football week.
It's football week. It's here. Of course, we've been in that mode for a little over a month now, so it's here. Finally, game week, and really fired up about having the opportunity to go play.
We're going to talk to offensive lineman Eugene German later on, but I'll tell you what, these guys are going to be excited about hitting somebody outside of their teammates this week. Yeah,
that's the unfortunate thing about college football. You get to beat on each other for a month. You know, you don't get to play anybody else in the preseason, so you have to scrimmage yourself, and the guys know each other pretty good, so it'll be fun for them to go play against somebody else.
Happy about where you guys sit right now going into week one?
Yeah, no question. The guys have done a good job in camp, worked extremely hard since January, and I feel like that we put our team in a position to have some success. You got to go out and make those breaks happen, but the guys have worked extremely hard up to this point.
Well, Coach, I know it's been, for a lot of people, it seems like football season just got here, but you guys have been grinding since the 2016 season was over with off-season workouts, spring practice, bringing in the new guys that are freshmen this year, and now to get to this point. How did you get through camp? I think with, those first few weeks, there's a lot of excitement, but I'm seeing still these guys are real passionate. They're really excited. Almost the tempo's going up now as you've approached this game week. You seem to have them really peaking at the right time.
Yeah, they've done a nice job through camp. We have some new rules this year in camp, where you can't do 2-a-days this year. So it's been a little bit longer camp, but you're only going 1 a day. And so the guys have maintained their energy level pretty good. And we give them a day off during the week. So it's not continuous like it has been in the past. So I think the guys' energy level has been able to be sustained. And so they've done a really good job of it. But this group's different in that this is the first time without our first class. And I've really been impressed since January with this group of how close they've become as a football team. And I think that's kind of propelling itself as we enter the season.
And you mentioned that, that first class is now gone and graduated. Guys like Brandon Banks and Austin Duke, Larry Ogunjobi. Who are some guys that you've seen as they've gone closer, like you said, become the kind of the team leaders of this current team?
Well, I think a guy like Eugene, who we're going to hear from in a little bit, he's done a nice job. Carrington King on defense. These guys have really done a good job of molding our team together and putting us close. A lot of things start with Hassan. Hassan's done a really good job of leading our football team through the off season. It's kind of been his job, and he's kind of taken on some other roles as a leader, and he's working extremely hard. So been really proud of him. But I think overall that group, that O-line group, is just a real solid, close group, and they kind of been our anchor so far.
Hassan Klub being one of the leaders, he kind of does it by example. Not a guy who's going to talk a lot, but his team is. We saw him, back last year. The first game he got in was Eastern Michigan, and the guys really believe in him, and they follow him as a leader.
Yeah, no question. He's a guy that everybody gravitates to. Like you say, Matt, he's just such a quality person, and so he's a gifted guy on the field, but just a hard-working, fine young man, and somebody that people gravitate to. You want to be around him. My boys want to be around him. One of the highlights of their day is when they get to play. If Hassan throws them a ball at practice, they're fired up. So he's just that kind of guy.
Well, I think with Hassan, what are some things that he had a successful campaign coming in last year, playing 7 games. What did you want to see from him growth-wise going into this year?
Well, I wanted to see him, continue to grow as a decision maker. I think that's the biggest thing, until you have to go out there and do it. There's no position on the football field. I don't care what level you're at. there's no position like quarterback. It's just the hardest position to play. There's a lot of things going on, and defenses are trying to throw a lot of things at him. So he's got to make a lot of decisions, and they've got to be really quick decisions. And so those are things we wanted to continue to build on him, his confidence and work ethic, and his time in the film room. I think he's done a good job of that, and I've really noticed a difference this camp. He's really doing a good job of making some solid decisions and timely decisions because we asked that guy to do a lot.
He was a guy that didn't seem like he panicked much last year. He just had that composure when he was out there, even playing for the first time at this level. Now with a year under his belt, I know you guys are excited about to see what he can do going forward.
Yeah, no doubt. That's kind of his personality. You know, he's a calm guy. You know, he's a very athletic guy. He's got a lot of skills. He can throw the ball. But his demeanor is pretty calm, and so that's comforting for me. You know, and he's really, like I say, he's done a good job of, you know, making really good decisions in practice, and now you've got to go do it with game speed. He's got a lot of game experience back at wideout, so that helps us. We've got some game plays back in the offensive line, so that helps. So I think there's a real natural comfort zone for all those guys on the offensive side of the ball, starting with Hassan.
Well, I think later in the program we'll talk Eastern Michigan and the game coming up in depth with that, but I wanted to just hit on this was Hassan Klu's first playing time last year, correct? Getting in relief of that game. He did a good job. Couple of touchdowns that he, I think, and the team really kind of saw him as a guy that they could rally behind, and the defense started playing better. You know, how does that, I think, correlate to the defense when they see him doing well and that offense doing well? They just pick their play up?
Yeah, it's the same thing. You know, you see a guy out there that's really working extremely hard. He's making good plays. He's making good decisions, and everybody believes, you know, whether you're on special teams or defense, offense, I think everybody has gravitated toward him. And he, like we said earlier, people want to follow him. So it makes everybody's step a little bit faster, you know, because they know that Hassan cares so much. And he's really done a good job of being more vocal throughout the spring. Since January, he's really taken on a little bit more of that role. And so I've been proud of him. He's holding guys accountable and making them show up. And, you know, when you have voluntary time and things like that, he's kind of the lead guy out there. So it's, you know, you'll see him hanging out with the D linemen and the DBs. And, you know, it's just who he is.
We'll talk a lot about the individual positions on this team. A lot of depth at wide receiver. You like what's going on in the defensive backfield, running back. A lot of really interesting points that as you keep growing forward, year 5, building, getting that depth and getting that, you know, guys that can play at this level. You get these recruits coming in now. It's a different kind of body coming in, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you have to get bigger and faster. You know, that's just especially on the line of scrimmage. That's the biggest difference. We've said all along. When you make the transition, you transition from here to the NFL. It's the same thing. You know, they're all like Larry at the next level. So, and that's been the biggest adjustment for us, and that's a recruiting emphasis for us. I like where our offensive line is. We're really young in the defensive line, so that's a big question mark for us moving forward, and that's, you know, something we're going to have to see as we move into this season. We've got some guys that hadn't been in the game yet, and so the game pace is going to really jump on them, I think, early in this game, so they're going to have to be ready to go.
Especially the D-line, you got so many new guys getting into the mix. I guess one of the really good things that's come out of camp is that you are relatively healthy going into that first week. Yeah,
you know, we've been pretty fortunate, you know, coming out of camp. We had a pretty physical camp, and we lost Alex Duncan, you know, towards the ACL. So he's a guy that was a backup player for us that we'll be without. But he's really the only major significant one that we don't have with us right now. So we've been fortunate from a health standpoint.
Yeah, and I know you really appreciate that because those kind of come and go in waves, and you guys have really survived that this year. And I think it's a big credit to the off-season conditioning and what you do in that program. It's not just by chance or being lucky.
Yeah, no question. Coach Durning's done a great job since January. He's you know, one of the best in the business. We're fortunate to have him, and he does a great job with our guys, you know, training them in different aspects and different ways, and really doesn't let the body just become, you know, in a routine of this is what we always do. And so he changes it up on them, and I really like it.
Well, while we were kind of on the defensive note, let's just talk the D-line just briefly. Who are some guys that have stepped up to fill those roles by Brandon Banks and Larry Ogunjobi going on?
Well, Tyler Fain's starting for us at nose right now, and he's a redshirt junior. He's kind of, has kind of put in his time, and now it's an opportunity for him to go out. He's had a good camp. I've really been pleased with him. John Hardy's been a real surprise for me personally. He's a guy that's a redshirt sophomore that has kind of been in our program, hadn't done much. But John's really had a good camp. I've been really proud of him. We'll see how he plays. He hasn't played much, so he's going to have a lot of pressure on him. A young guy in Timmy Horn. Timmy's he's a 300-pounder that has a lot of, he's really athletic, can move. He's a guy, like I say, he redshirted last year, hasn't played, but he's got a big body, and I think he can move well. Johnny Ray's another guy that we redshirted last year. He's playing with John Hardy at 3 technique. A guy named Tommy Doctor's been in our program a couple years. He's a guy that's had a really, really good camp. You'll see him in the game on Saturday. He's a guy I think that, he's kind of one of those grinded out guys. He's he traveled with us last year, but didn't play much, and so he's had a good preseason camp. So I'm looking forward to see him play in there as well. Stedman Lucas is a guy that's a senior. He's kind of been in our program. He'll have opportunity to get in the game. Very athletic guy, transferred to us from Western Carolina. So just kind of excited to see these guys play because they haven't been in the game. They haven't had to. We lost so much production with Larry and Brandon. So it's going to be fun to watch these guys. And we're playing an Eastern Michigan team that has a really, really big offensive line. I mean, these guys are big and they can really move. And so it's a stiff test for us coming right out of the gate.
A good challenge week 1, and of course week 2 we'll go to Kansas State, so it's not going to be an easy first couple of games for the 49ers this year. Let's take our first break on the show. Before we do, though, got the Bow Time Challenge coming up. We brought it back, Kevin. Sweet tea today. You ready for it?
Chugging contest. I'm ready. I'm down.
I thought you'd wear like an older shirt for the sweet tea. Don't get on your shirt. That's a good shirt.
No. I didn't spill last year. This was the one I think I lost because somebody was like, chugging it and water spilling. I mean, tea spilling everywhere.
We didn't want to bring the chicken tenders back week 1. That was a struggle for you last year.
I almost died. That's how much a struggle it was. I almost choked out.
Hey, before we take our break, I want to welcome our new flagship radio station back in ESPN 730 here in Charlotte. We're live this afternoon. All the shows will be live at 12 noon on the Mondays here from the Student Union. If you're in the area and want to come out and join us, it's at Norm's right on campus in the Student Union. And also want to welcome Desmond Johnson to our broadcast this year. He's our new studio host. He's back in the studio today. He'll be joining us on the air for the game on Friday night with our updates from Eastern Michigan throughout the night as well. Bow Time Challenge coming up next. This is Gold Time Live on the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift? We've got you. Guitar? Coming tomorrow. Road game today. Surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No. Birthday tomorrow.
Hotel. Guitar. Reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party. Relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
You think you got what it takes?
It's time for the Bow Time Challenge with Kevin Donnalley, presented by Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits.
I will beat you down. I will eat you into oblivion.
Now let's head back to the Student Union and your host, Matt Swierad.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Student Union. Norms here on campus and Gold Mine Live. It is time for our first Bow Time Challenge of 2017, and Kevin Donnalley has an opponent today, Titus, who's from Charlotte, first-year student. He's going to challenge Big Kevin with sweet tea. Scott Auker is going to run the clock. You tell us when you're ready to go, Scott. You got 30 seconds. How much tea can they drink? You got a big old large tea, Coach. They're off.
Kevin is so serious about this. Kevin, don't choke now. Titus, you got it, buddy. Keep going.
You got to take a couple breaths. Kevin is just chugging it. And Kevin is not spilling, and he's won. Kevin has won. And there was still a quarter of the cup of tea left for Titus, but a nice effort right there. He did it in how many seconds, Scott? 19 seconds. He knocked down the big, large sweet tea. That's pretty impressive.
Thanks, Titus. We'll get him later.
Titus going to get a gift card from Bojangles. Thanks to the folks at Bojangles. It's the first of our many Bojangles challenges. For all the students that are here on Mondays, you want to get involved, just come on by on a Monday and challenge Kevin. Maybe the Bowberry biscuits next week, Kev.
That was a good one to start on the tea. I enjoy chugging the sweet tea. Their Bojangles tea is awesome. So
I don't know how you do that. It's so sweet.
Their
sweet tea is awesome, man.
You guys just get set because about the next 30 minutes I'm going to be wired on sugar.
That was good stuff. I want to thank, again, Titus for participating. And no spills. That was great.
Yeah.
I did. It was clean. You can see from here, there's some driblets right there on my competitor's side.
Yeah, Titus, he spilled early.
I follow the rules.
Yeah, he got it under control early, though.
Yeah.
He had a little spillage and then got it under control.
All right, yeah.
All right. There you go. We're talking about Niner football here today. First Coaches Show with Brad Lambert and Kevin Donnalley. Matt Swierad with you back in the studio. Desmond Johnson. Coach, you've been trying to simulate a night game going forward with a lot of practices late in the afternoon. Also, it's been so hot in the area. You've been going a little bit later in the day a lot of times. Hopefully that's going to get you ready for that first week. But then you got a whole flip the next week going so early.
Yeah, you have different kick times. A lot of our games are in the evening. We kind of went last year to practicing later in the day. It's kind of a college student's wheelhouse. Their prime times from 3 in the afternoon to midnight, and so we just kind of wanted to take advantage of that. We do open with Eastern at 6:30, so it fits in well. We did go a couple times during the day to get in, make sure we were in the heat. We like to get out in the heat and practice and stress the guys a little bit. So we did some of that. We did a couple in the morning, on the weekends, so we could get used to that time of day as well. But the guys have handled camp really well, and the evening's been good for us.
We're going to talk to Eugene German coming up shortly, I believe, on the show. But before we go forward with this team, let's take a moment to talk about some of the guys that are still playing in NFL camps. You've got Austin Duke right here with the Carolina Panthers. He's a Charlotte guy, went to Independence High School. What a great story that is. But, Larry Ogunjobi, the first draft choice, third-round pick, which I thought was so cool that he wore 65, never missed a game, and he was the 65th pick taken in the draft for the Browns.
Yeah, that was crazy the way that worked out. That night on the draft night when he got picked, and it was the 65th pick. You're like, wow, this is crazy. But he's doing well from all that we hear. He's just a hardworking guy that's made himself into a really good football player. So hopefully he'll make the team and do well for Cleveland. But Banks is with Washington Redskins, so we're really proud of him as well. And then Khalif up in Green Bay. So a lot of decisions on that end will be made this week. I think they're catch probably this weekend sometime, as they get ready to start their season.
Yeah, and I think that's been different. You talked about the rule changes you did with college with no two-a-days and with camp. Another thing that the NFL did in their assessment was let these guys be on the roster one more week and put those cuts back till the end of this week on Friday. So it's a great opportunity for Austin Duke, Brandon Banks, Khalif Phillips, and Larry to get one more preseason game under their belt and get some tape on them in case other teams are looking at them. And, it's, I think, just the right thing to do. So these guys, what I'm excited about is that fourth preseason game is when a lot of backup positions are challenged for and guys are competing for position. This is going to be a great time for those guys to shine.
Yeah, you'll see guys playing extremely hard because the video that they put out there, if it's not for the current team they're on, like you say, it may be for another team that has a need at the area they play. So there's going to be some guys out there playing extremely hard in this last preseason game, no question. I always felt talking to Coach Rivera, you think about guys getting cut. That's not an easy job for him. He talks about that day's really hard when you make those cuts, and you have to tell guys that they're not on your team. That's not an easy day for him by any stretch. So I always think about him this time of year and what he has to go through because everybody wants to make it and everybody wants to play, and there's limited roster spots. So I always feel like for him a little bit it's a tough time.
Well, I think what's fantastic for your program is that the four guys that are battling for NFL positions right now that, especially like with Banks and Khalif and with Austin Duke, if they don't make their squad, to me it's like they're position A1 for that practice squad spot because of the way you've had them here, the things you taught them with the work ethic and being on time and doing all the little things right.
Yeah, hopefully you instill something in the guys while they're here, and they take something with them when they leave. You know, another guy that has been gone for a couple of years, but it's playing extremely well in the Canadian League is Brandon Dozier. You know, he's up there. He came out to practice one day a couple of weeks ago, so we got to see him. He was on a bye week, and I didn't realize they play like 21 games or something. I mean, it was crazy. I was like, how many games you got left? He's like 16. I was like, excuse me? Like, but he's doing extremely well up in Canada, so we're proud of him as well.
Yeah, Des Cooper and others have also been in camps before this year. But, as it's year 5, Coach, and this is the thing you're trying to do, the foundation. You told, like Robin Washington when you were recruiting Robert, hey, you could be the first one to come here locally that could make a splash. And now there's going to be guys playing in the NFL. You're getting the program going in that direction where you can tell anybody coming here that you can still get all your goals by playing for the 49ers.
Yeah, no question. That's, something we've tried to, put out there a lot is you can meet all your goals, as a team, personally, you come in and do well and rush for a lot of yards like Khalif. That's good for the 49ers. It's good for Khalif. And if you have enough ability to move on, they're going to find you. And so we're pretty easy access. The Panthers are out a lot. We've had a lot of guys through already, through preseason to look at our guys. And we don't close the door. We keep it wide open. We want all the guys to come in and see our guys. Yeah, you can, from a recruiting standpoint, you can come here and meet all your goals and live in a great city.
We're going to talk to Eugene. Talk a little bit about, your offensive line and Eugene, some of the guys coming back. You lost some of the big guys from last year, but a lot of returners coming back on the offensive line, and Eugene's a junior, and he's going to be one of your leaders in that O-line.
Yeah, Eugene, I can't get that picture out of my mind at Marshall when he broke his arm, Eugene was playing as good as he played since he's been here up to that point, and I just really feel good about where he is. And he tripped a guy on his screenplay and broke his arm, and he knew it right away. But I just like where Eugene is. He's working extremely hard. He's an older guy, and he's going to do some good things this year, I think. But we're fortunate to have him. The O-line, Nate Davis is back. Darren Drake's a guy that we had to have come through in the spring. He's had a good camp for us at center. Wolfgang's been around here forever. We call him the old man. He's been around here forever. He's doing well. Chris Brown, Cam Clark, those guys have really had a good, solid camp and have gotten a lot better. And I feel really good about the cohesiveness of that group right now.
What's going to be interesting, I think, for fans, too, is that with that first class now gone, they were here for so long. It was almost like they were like NFL guys that you, as a fan, you could know them for 5 years, and now that they're gone, it's going to be a situation where people get to know these guys. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, and yet T.L. Ford, guys like that have been here with us a while. Eugene, Wolfgang, those guys are still pretty common names for us around here, and so we just want all our fans to come out, watch our guys play, and watch them run around and knock each other around. So it's just a lot of fun. But this group has really formed their own identity and become really close. So I'm excited to watch them play on Friday.
Let's take our break now, and we'll come back and talk to Eugene German, offensive lineman junior with the 49ers, getting ready for the opening game this Friday night, going to Eastern Michigan. We'll kick that off at 6:30 on Friday night. We're back with more Goldmine Live on the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift, we've got you. Guitar, coming tomorrow. Road game today, surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No, birthday tomorrow.
Guitar. Reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party. Relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
The Student Athlete of the Week, sponsored by Ortho Carolina, the official team physician of your Charlotte 49ers. This week's Ortho Carolina Student Athlete of the Week is football player Wolfgang Zackrell. Zackrell is a redshirt senior offensive lineman from Raleigh, North Carolina. He has played in all 35 games during his 3 playing seasons for the 49ers, and last year was awarded the team's John Richardson Scholarship, which is awarded every year to a football player from North or South Carolina who best displays 5 characteristics intrinsic to the development of a successful student athlete: hard work, harmony, teamwork, listening, and respect. Zackrell will also be wearing a unique hairstyle this season, as he has dyed part of his long hair blue in honor of his grandmother, who was diagnosed with cancer this summer. Wolfgang Zackrell, the Ortho Carolina Student Athlete of the Week. This has been the Ortho Carolina Student Athlete of the Week, brought to you by Ortho Carolina, the official team physician of your Charlotte 49ers.
Welcome back, everybody. Here, Gold Mine Live on campus. Norms in the Student Union with Kevin Donnalley, Coach Lambert, Matt Swierad with you, and Coach steps out for a moment. We bring in offensive lineman Eugene German. Great to see you. Hope you're having a great camp. Good year so far.
Thank you. It's great being here.
How's it been now that you guys have kind of wrapped up camp, getting ready for the opener? It's been a tough few weeks, but I know you guys are excited about going forward.
Yes, sir. It feels great. It feels great to really focus and dial in on Eastern Michigan. We got finished banging a little bit in camp, so I'm really excited for Friday.
What's it been like this year? Coach mentioned you guys really a tight-knit group going forward. The foundation of the program graduating last year, a lot of those guys, but a lot of returners like yourself. The offensive line looks really strong going forward. Talk about the group you have right now.
Well, the O-line we got right now, I know Chris Brown, Wolfgang, Darren Drake, and my partner, Nate Davis. I'm really excited for us. We've really been working hard this offseason. Putting in that extra work and just ready to go out there for Eastern Michigan.
Eugene, you're talking all professional right now and low key, but man, I am excited about this offensive line. I think it's going to be the best one that has ever been here at Charlotte because you guys are not only athletic, you're strong, you're some older group of guys, but there's an edge, there's a nastiness to you guys. I mean, from you, Cam Clark, Darren Drake, everybody's looking for that extra push, that extra shove. Do you see that in the group? Because as an outsider looking in, I think this group could be real nasty.
Yes, sir. Definitely this group that we have now, I feel like we definitely have much more of a chip on our shoulder. Everybody's just ready to go out there, and we're prepared for a fight, honestly. But a legal fight. We're prepared for a legal fight. But I definitely feel that this group, now we have a bigger edge than any other line we had here at Charlotte.
Yeah, no, you guys, I think, are going to have a lot of success this year. Now, is there a guy, I know you said your guy, Nate Davis, is that the guard that you like playing next to? Do y'all get some work done right there?
Yes, sir. Nate, that's definitely my dog. We got our little handshake going definitely at times, but Nate, that's my comrade.
All right, so looking at this offensive line and the way you move guys around, what's it like to protect for a guy like Hassan Klug that can just take off running at any time?
Oh, we love protecting for Hassan. Just Hassan's poise and his ability to run, his ability to stay in the pocket and step up, throw the deep ball. We love Hassan. His leadership as well. The way Hassan speaks to us, the way he communicates with us, that's had a big impact on us as well.
What's that like? Is he, because he's real soft-spoken now when you see him around the office or off the field, but is he that same demeanor on the field? How's he get a point across to you guys?
Oh, on the field, off the field, Hassan is very soft-spoken, but on the field, he definitely, that edge, that tiger, that line comes out definitely.
Right.
And when he's mad then.
Yeah. You know when Hassan's fired up a little bit, so definitely.
Going into camp this year, a little different vibe with the offensive line on the offense, knowing that Hassan is your quarterback. This is your group. You got the great wide receivers, running backs, your O-line together. A lot of excitement for this offense this year.
Yes, sir. A ton of excitement. I feel like this offense that we have now is the most explosive offense that we had in Charlotte, and I'm ready. We're ready to showcase that this season.
Yeah, looking at this team, you guys certainly, I think, can consistently now kind of put that product on the thing. What are some goals you'd like to have for yourself this year? I know injuries now and again have kind of slowed you down a little bit, but is that one of your main goals this year, is just to be able to be there every game and be a consistent performer?
Yes, sir, definitely. That's my main goal, is to stay healthy throughout the entire season and just continue to be a leader, continue to uplift the guys when they need it, be that voice for them, because I understand it takes one person, and I know as far as our group, we definitely have a lot of those people that can definitely just spark our room. Wolfgang, Chris, Cam. So I feel like staying healthy and just continue to be a leader.
Well, one last thing from me. On Charlotte 49er football, some of our social media that we do and a Snap Store, you seem to be on there a lot, and you represent. What do you always got the hand sign up there? You got the 304. What do you represent there? What are you trying to tell us?
I throw my 304 very often. I represent West Virginia, Dove V, to the fullest. I just got to represent for West Virginia.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of, that was a big win for you guys last year at Marshall.
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, you broke your arm in that game. But what was that like going up there? It was the first time the program went to a place like Marshall and beat a team of that caliber, that kind of historical background with that program. It must have meant a lot.
Yes, sir. It definitely meant a lot, especially for Coach Ratliff. Coach Ratliff coming from Marshall. I know Marshall was my first offer, and just going up to Marshall, us getting the win for Coach Ratliff, me breaking my arm, and just seeing my teammates go out there and really just put on a showcase for the city of Charlotte, for ourselves, for Coach Ratliff. It was amazing.
To follow that up and go down to Southern Miss and beat the Eagles down there, was that the point you guys said, you know what, because you always believe you're good enough to beat anybody, but when you actually do it back-to-back on the road, is that when you finally felt like, okay, we've arrived as a program, and now that's behind us, let's just move forward and try to get to that next step?
I feel like we've always believed in ourselves. It's just time that the nation finally sees us.
Eugene, it's going to be a fun year. Looking forward to Friday night. I know you guys are all excited, and enjoy this week getting ready for it. We'll see you on Friday night.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Eugene German's been our guest. Offensive lineman with the 49ers. We open up the season on Friday against Eastern Michigan on the road. We're back with more with Coach Lambert in a moment. Goldmine Live here from Norms on the Campus Student Union. This is the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift, we've got you. Guitar, coming tomorrow. Road game today, surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No, birthday tomorrow.
Guitar, reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party, relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
Welcome back to Goldmine Live. Matt Swierad with Kevin Donnalley, and now rejoined by Brad Lambert. Really enjoyed talking to Eugene German of the Niner offensive line, and guys are excited about the first game on Friday night, Eastern Michigan. And it's going to be a rematch of a game that was played here in Charlotte last year, a home and home, and Eastern Michigan won that game. It was the Niners' second loss. They went to 2-1. Eastern ended up going to a bowl game last year and played Old Dominion in the Bahamas Bowl. So that's certainly our goal this year, coaches, to get to one of those. And this Eastern Michigan game is going to be a big game for a lot of reasons. A chance for you to see the team for the first time, but a chance to get a win on the road.
Yeah, no doubt. Eastern, they really have done a nice job under Coach Creighton. And he's really got them turned around, going in the right direction. That was a goal of theirs, to go to bowl games, and they want to continue their climb, as they climb that mountain and establish their program. So it's a big game for both programs. You look at these non-conference games, and you want to go out and do well in your non-conference and put yourself in a position to, go into league play and have a chance to go to bowl game. And these are big games, and it's just our first opportunity of the year. And we played pretty good against them last year. We had a couple turnovers in the first half I thought really hurt us. We had to play the game without Khalif last year, so that hurt us a little bit, playing those two true freshman running backs. And so there were some things in there, I think, if you have an opportunity to go back and look at it, and a couple plays here, it's just like every other game, you're in the middle of that thing in the mix in the fourth quarter. So they've got a lot of guys back. So he's got them in a good spot, and it's going to be a real stiff challenge for us going on the road at their place and playing on the gray turf.
Yeah, the gray turf. They call it the factory up there. It's one of 5 schools that has turf that is not green. Of course, Boise State has the blue, and the Eastern Washington has red. But this is gray. The workman attitude they have up there. It's going to be different and interesting.
Yeah, and it'll be, like I say, they've got a lot of good players back, starting with their quarterback. So he didn't play against us last year, but had a really good year for him. He's a very productive guy. He's a really, really good quarterback. So we've got a tough challenge ahead of us. But I will say that that's what we did here. We're green and white's our colors. That's why we made our field green. So
makes sense.
Makes sense.
Makes
so
perfect sense.
We did it that way as well.
When you look at getting a win any place, home, road, the first thing we always talk about is, just protect the football. Don't turn the ball over. Win special teams. And then find a way to make plays late in the game. And also get off the field on third down. A lot of things right there, but you put a lot of those together, you're going to win a lot of football games.
Yeah, that's a real recipe. And I didn't think last year, when you look back at the year in review, we didn't play well on third down, and that's been a point of emphasis for us. We need to play better on third down to extend drives, and then defensively we got to get ourselves off the field so we can get our number of play count down. So that's a critical piece for it. I thought we really made an emphasis last year to flip our turnover margin. I thought we did that. The kids did a nice job of not turning the ball over and then gaining some takeaways. So those are all heavy points of emphasis, and games usually hinge on them in there. And then the other thing we talk about a lot is no gifts. When you give up big plays, whether it be a missed tackle or a mental error, you just give them a gift. That's always hard to overcome as well.
Well, and I think, you mentioned the turnovers, and that really is one of the biggest things that you need to avoid on offense especially. And last year you mentioned there were several turnovers that led to some either short field and points for Eastern Michigan. But, Hassan Klue has come in and done a really good job of really avoiding negative plays. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the best things he did in his time that he got in the Eastern Michigan game last year in the second half, didn't turn the ball over. I really think that if you clean that up, he's going to have a lot of success on Friday.
Yeah, you got to take care of the ball and like you say, not give them anything. It's a hard enough game when you just play it out regular, and then when you give them things, your opponent, it's a tough situation. And I think Hassan's done a good job of making decisions and taking care of the ball, and sometimes you just have to throw it away. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Defensively, it's a little more difficult because you can't punt on defense. If we're playing bad on defense, I can't call for the punt team. So
that's right.
It's that's the difference in the two sides of the ball. You have to find a way to stiffen up and get yourself off the field, and we need to play better in third down. I thought we did a nice job turnover-wise last year, but we've got to find a way to really improve on third down.
Yeah.
Take a break. I get a couple breaks in. Take a break right now. Come back to all those special teams. Some new kickers in the mix on the offensive side today. Arthur Hartback as the punter for the 49ers. We'll talk about that coming up in a moment. This is Gold Mine Live on the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift, we've got you. Guitar, coming tomorrow. Road game today, surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No, birthday tomorrow.
Guitar, reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party, relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
Inside of a week now till we kick it off in Ypsilanti, Michigan against the Eastern Michigan University Eagles. It's going to be a lot of fun on Friday night. And the Niners, some new faces on special teams. Back with Coach Lambert here at the Student Union. The kicking game. Arthur Hart's back as your punter, but there's some other changes in the kicking game.
Yeah, we've had to. We went out and signed the guy, Nigel McCauley. Went out and found him. He's come in, had a really good camp. He'll probably be the guy going into the game. We're not afraid to switch, though. We did that last year. With Steve Muscarella and Blake Brewer. And what we wanted to do was make sure our percentage from 20 to 30 and 30 to 40 was pretty high. And we came out of last year, we improved that percentage, which is what we wanted to do from the year before. So that'll be a thing that, we're always monitoring and how these guys do. It's a pretty simple equation for a kicker. It's either between the uprights or it's not. So, and then our long snapper, Brian McDonough's had a really good camp. So probably jog him out there first. Both those guys have done a nice job. Jack Wellenhoff, we're really fortunate at long snapper to have those two guys. Both of them have been in the game before, so I really feel comfortable with both of them. And they've had a really good battle in camp. And Coach Skolaski's, our new special teams coordinator, has done a really nice job with all those guys and trying to put ourselves in a position to be successful in the kicking game. And then, Chris Montgomery will be back for, handle our kickoff returns. He did a nice job for us last year. We're trying to really help him from a return game. And, he's an explosive guy, so we need to get him going. And I think Nate Mullen, will be back there as our punt returner. So he's one of those fearless guys. Punt returner, that's a tough job. Anytime you stand back there and you're looking up at the ball and guys are running by you and ready to take your head off. So you got to have a little bravery about you. And Nate's done a good job, so I feel good about that as well.
Well, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah, I did it in college. It's not a fun thing.
It's brutal. It's brutal. So I guess I want to dive in a little bit with Eastern Michigan. And, let's start on the offensive side. They returned their quarterback, who had a really good game last year in Roback. But also they're getting a running back, right, that was hurt last year, Shaq Van.
Yes.
That's very talented. So they got some playmakers on offense.
They do. All their skill guys are back. Their wideouts, their tight end, quarterback, running backs. They're the guys that played against us at running back. They're behind Shaq. So they've got a lot of production back on offense. They lost a couple offensive linemen, but have a big offensive line coming back, and they've got guys that have been in the program. So their right guard's back. He started a bunch of games for them, and so they'll be fine up front because they're a big group, and like I say, their staff's been together. So really, they're a tough challenge. I really like Brogan. He manipulates the pocket extremely well. He's a very productive quarterback, and he's an old guy. He's played a lot of football, so anything you throw at him, he's probably seen. And so it's a matter of making sure we corral him and get a hold of him. But as most weeks go, you're going to have to stop the running game to give yourself a chance. And these guys, they're big up front, have a chance to run the ball with Shaq. I think we've got a good running game as we'll probably play against. So we're going to have to be on point. And then they have the big play guys outside at wideout. Sergio Bailey's a really, really good player. We'll have to, keep him corralled. It'll be a tough challenge for our secondary, in covering those guys. But they have a lot of production back. Coach has got them in a good spot, and they're looking to do some great things this year. So it's a big game for both programs.
Yeah, and I know as you have mentioned often, is you're a work in progress with growing, age on this team. And even though when you're going into year 5, it's still not where you want it to be. And you can look at Eastern Michigan, who's going to have 9 seniors on offense. Right. Like you said, there's a lot of leadership there. 3 of those are on the offensive line. It's a big group. But, on defense, they return. They got 6 seniors back there, and they got some playmakers on that side of the ball. But there may be some opportunities for Charlotte's offense to get some good points on them.
Yeah, they lost a defensive end that's, I think he was drafted or signed. He's in the NFL, was a very good player we played against last year at a defensive end. And we had a hard time blocking him. He was, I compared him to the youngster down at FAU, Hendrickson, that we played. I thought he was very similar to him. Very productive D lineman. They lost him. They've got a couple guys back. One of their D tackles back. Luke McLean's very productive for him, big guy. They're what they call their bull position. Jeremiah Harris is back. He's a really productive guy for him. A lot of starts. But their most productive position that's back is their inside backers. The leading tacklers in there. They've got a lot of game plays, a lot of starts in that position. So. They're gonna be in the right place. They're very well coached, and you're gonna have to beat them. They're not gonna beat themselves. So I think with their senior leadership right in the middle of their defense, a couple of defensive linemen back, because they got a couple of big guys in there that be tough to block. They can create some problems for you. You're gonna have to block them and make plays and go beat them. So our offense will have they'll have an opportunity to make plays, but they're gonna have to go out and do it. They're not gonna give you anything.
Coming off the season they had last year, the win here in Charlotte, they're probably circling this game too as they try to get back to a bowl game. It's a game where the Niners go up there probably in the first quarter. You want to protect the football. You want to get off to a good start on Friday night.
Yeah, you always want to start fast. That's always a key in the game. But you gotta sustain it. I saw the game against San Jose State in South Florida last weekend, and San Jose jumps out 16-0, and everybody's, what's wrong with South Florida? Well, they scored 28 in the second quarter, So you want to come out, start fast, and if it doesn't happen fast for you got to maintain your composure and don't panic. You are on the road and playing against a team that went to a bowl game last year. So, our guys we got to keep that even keel. We can't get too high, get too low, and continue to stay focused on the task at hand. And it's just the next drive, and that's what we preach to our guys all the time. Handle this drive, and what'll happen in the fourth quarter, we'll get there. But, just handle this drive and let's be focused when we come out of the locker room.
Let's take our last break on the show. Week 1 of Gold Mine Live, and the first game coming up on Friday night at Eastern Michigan. We're back with the final segment in a moment here on the Charlotte IMG Sports Network.
Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift? We've got you. Guitar? Coming tomorrow. Road game today. Surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No. Birthday tomorrow.
Guitar. Reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party. Relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
Welcome back to Gold Mine Live. First game coming up on Friday from Eastern Michigan. Join us for an hour pregame show. Bobby Rosinski will join us for the pregame coming up on Friday at 5:30. We'll kick it off just after 6:30 against Eastern Michigan on Friday night. Well, before we go any further in the show, we got one last segment here to get in. We want to just mention our friends down in Houston and Rice University Conference USA member and all the devastation in the Houston area. Our thoughts and prayers going out to all the folks down in Texas. Coach, Rice played over in Australia, and I'm sure that it's a place coming back now. It's a horrible situation.
Yeah, it is. We got an email the other day. I think they're stuck on the West Coast. They can't even get into Houston. I think they're going to be 2 or 3 days delayed. I think they might have went to TCU, and they're up to Dallas, maybe working with those guys up there using their facilities. So, college football is one big family, and when somebody's in need, Coach Bailiff's as good a guy as there is in this business, and I've known him for a long time, and your heart goes out to everybody in that coast down there in Houston, the Corpus Christi. It's just you see that on TV. It's a lot of water and a lot of people, suffering. So. You do just your thoughts and prayers go out to all the people in Houston, and have some good friends that coach high school football down there, and so it's a tough situation, but everybody will pull together hopefully and take care of each other.
Also, our Niner Nation, Bobby Coomer, former basketball player for the Niners, assistant coach at Lamar, his wife Nicole down there, and all the folks at Lamar and all the schools and all the people down in Texas as well. So as we get ready for Friday night, we do have some staff changes too, Coach, and talk about some of the new guys that you have on the staff. You got Greg Atkins and also Keith Henry joining your staff here in 2017.
Yeah, Coach Atkins, he and I coached together at the University of Georgia in Marshall. He played at Marshall. He actually played there when Coach Ratliff was there. So I've known Coach Ad for a long time, and he's got a wealth of experience in the offensive line, at the collegiate level and the NFL level. So he's been really good for us. He's done a good job with the guys, through spring and this fall. Really like his intensity. He's really helping us in the run game. So Coach Ad's, he's a heck of a football coach. We're fortunate we have him. Coach Henry, he and I work together at Wake. He's been on both sides of the ball. He brings a different perspective to our offense. He coached offense for Coach Grobe at Ohio. I wasn't with him there, and then he and I coached defense together over the years at Wake Forest. So he's done a good job with our running backs. He's done a good job molding those guys. And I see Aaron McAllister over here shooting pool. Hopefully he's finished with his class. He's not skipping class. AMAC better not be anyway. But we've moved AMAC over to running back. Coach Henry's done a nice job with him. I called AMAC in and said, hey, we need a running back. Would you be interested in playing? He's like, whatever team needs, Coach. And we have a lot of guys like that. And AMAC's had a really good camp. Really been proud of him. But Coach Henry's doing a good job with those guys.
Running back, speaking of that position, got some depth this year, some guys that really could run the football for you.
Yeah, Robert's had a really good camp. Been proud of him. Benny LeMay's another guy that, those two guys, they were the workload in this game last year, and it was their first game, and they were true freshmen. And I felt like coming out of the game, when you go back and watch it, they could have played a little bit better, but they're true freshmen. And it was game 3, and, we kind of always, hung our hat on Khalif, and all of a sudden he wasn't available. So I really look forward to watching these guys play, Friday night, because there's some good young talented guys.
Wide receivers, before we take our wrap of the show here today, again, a lot of depth across the board. You get Trent Bostic back this year. That's a big help.
Yeah, it is. Trent's a big play guy for us. He's had a good spring, good fall. He's played a lot of football here. He played as a true freshman, and then we had to redshirt him last year due to some concussions. And he's been healthy all through spring, all through camp. So he's given us a lot of depth there. T.L. Ford's back. He's a very productive guy, long, athletic guy. And Warpay Kofa's a guy that we can kind of play him all over the place. He's very intelligent, very productive. I thought he had a good year for us last year, and we're trying to keep him involved as much as we can at different spots. So we do have some depth at the wideout position, so we need to take advantage of that.
Mark Quattlebaum, Chris Montgomery, that slot position, that was Austin Duke's old spot, so certainly a little different now.
Yeah, no question. We've lost a lot of production in Austin, and that guy that could really push the field, vertically. So those guys, they're finally getting their opportunity. Been around here 3 or 4 years, and so they're looking forward to their opportunity, and hopefully they take advantage of it.
As we get ready for Eastern Michigan, your thoughts on what if you do 2 or 3 things you think in the fourth quarter we get a chance to win this game?
Well, I think the biggest thing for us defensively is we can't give them anything. We can't go out there and give up a lot of easy plays. So we're going to have to play well defensively, and it's going to be a feeling out process early up front because of who we are and the players that we lost. So I think defensively we got to keep the thing under control and not give up a bunch of plays. Offensively, we got to come out and execute. It's always about the execution on that side of the ball, and maintain your composure and execute, catch the ball when you have the opportunity, make good decisions at quarterback. Up front offensively, we got to win the line of scrimmage. It's no different than any other game we play, but early in the game, that's our chance to really establish the line of scrimmage and see if we can run the ball on these guys.
Sounds great, Coach. Thanks so much. Looking forward to Friday night.
All right. Thanks for it's a good start.
Good start, Coach. And Kevin, we wrap things up here today. I want to thank everybody associated with the program. Desmond Johnson back in the studio for Kevin Donnalley and Brad Lambert. I'm Matt Swierad. We will see you Friday from Ypsilanti, Michigan. The Niners kick things off against Eastern Michigan. So long, everybody.